A cherished personality from 90 Day Fiancé has shared a personal health update, revealing the difficult time. Many members of the 90 Day Fiancé cast have been open about their private health journeys on social media. Jasmine Pineda, currently featured in 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After. Season 9 has been transparent about her experience with postpartum challenges. She has posted authentic photos from her daily life, showing the toll it has taken. Lauren Brovarnik has also discussed feeling very emotional following the birth of her third child. Recently, Suan shared an update about her struggle with hair loss after welcoming her daughter, Minthira. On Instagram, she revealed she's been losing a significant amount of hair since giving birth in March 2025. She posted a photo of a handful of hair she had lost, accompanied by a caption that expressed her emotional struggle. She wrote, "I'm honestly worried every time I see how much hair I'm losing since giving birth. This is today's reality, and it's really starting to affect me emotionally." Annie also asked her followers for advice from those who may have experienced something similar. Annie is known as one of the most upbeat cast members of the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. Fans have consistently seen her smiling and joking with her husband, David Toborowski. Despite facing financial hurdles early in her time in the United States, she always maintained a positive perspective. It's therefore difficult to see her experiencing distress due to postpartum hair loss. Annie has been feeling overwhelmed by this sudden change in her health and is seeking support and advice from her fans. She trusts her audience and believes they can offer guidance. While Annie has the support of her husband, David, her use of words like worried shows she is struggling emotionally. The hair loss is affecting not only her physical health, but also her sense of well-being. This may hint at a deeper emotional journey postpartum, even though she hasn't identified it as such. Hopefully, she will receive valuable advice from women who have gone through a similar health issue. Annie might consider reaching out to Jasmine, who recently gave birth and has alopecia, to find ways to cope with and manage the condition. For many women, their hair is closely tied to their confidence and self-image. Annie's distress over losing hair reflects how these postpartum changes have deeply impacted her self-perception. Seeing large amounts of her hair on a daily basis can be very upsetting. Even though postpartum hair loss is common, Annie's feelings and distress are valid. Hopefully, the 90 Day Fiancé cast member will continue to maintain a positive outlook, follow a balanced diet, and take vitamins to help with her hormonal changes. The porcelain sink, stark white and unforgiving, was a daily monument to her fading self. Suan stood over it, her eyes fixed on the dark, tangled mass. It wasn't just hair, it was her confidence, her identity, a piece of the vibrant woman she had always been, swirling down the drain with the suds. She ran a hand through her scalp, the familiar weight and texture gone. The glossy black cascade that had once been her pride and joy, a source of endless compliments from David and her fans, was now thin and limp. The mirror reflected a stranger, a woman with hollowed eyes and a weary slump to her shoulders. Where was the smiling, joking Annie, the one who could find humor in a broken-down car or a misplaced passport? She felt as though she had lost her light, and this physical change was a constant, painful reminder of its absence. Minthira, her beautiful baby girl, cooed from the living room, a sound that should have filled her with pure joy. And it did, a deep maternal love that was fierce and all-encompassing. But it was a joy shadowed by this new persistent worry. The hair loss had started as a whisper, a few extra strands on her pillow. Now, it was a roar, a daily confrontation with her own fragility. She walked into the living room, forcing a smile onto her face for David. He was on the floor, making silly faces at their daughter, his deep laugh filling the small apartment. He looked up, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "Hey, my love. Minthira missed you." Annie knelt beside him, her smile feeling tight. "Oh, David, she's so beautiful." She stroked Minthira's cheek, the softness of the baby's skin a comforting contrast to the harsh reality she faced. Later that evening, as Minthira slept peacefully in her crib, Annie sat on the couch with her phone. She scrolled through her Instagram feed, a sense of dread pooling in her stomach. She had posted the photo of the clump of hair, her raw caption a plea for understanding and advice. The comments were already pouring in. "Oh, Annie, I went through the same thing. It's so hard. Try taking prenatal vitamins. They'd really helped me. It will get better, Mama. Just give it time." Her heart ached with gratitude. The overwhelming support from her fans, her online family, was a balm to her wounded spirit. They saw her, the real her, beneath the filtered photos and cheerful smiles. They understood that her distress was valid, that this wasn't just a cosmetic issue. It was a matter of self-worth. David came and sat beside her, wrapping a comforting arm around her shoulders. "You're so brave, you know," he said softly, his voice full of admiration. Annie leaned her head on his shoulder, a single tear escaping her eye. "I don't feel brave, David. I feel worried." He squeezed her gently. "I know, but you're facing this head-on. You're not hiding. And look at all these people who care about you." He gestured to her phone. "They love you, Annie, no matter what." His words were a lifeline. She realized that while the physical change was jarring her essence, the Annie that David and her fans cherished was still there. It wasn't tied to her hair. The next day, with a renewed sense of purpose, Annie decided to take some of the advice she had received. She started with her diet, focusing on nutrient-rich foods that would nourish her body from the inside out. David, ever supportive, joined her, happily eating bowls of spinach and salmon. She also looked into new hair care routines, opting for gentle shampoos and conditioners, and finally scheduling a trim to get rid of the dry split ends. The hairdresser, a kind woman who had a sympathetic ear, listened to her story and shared her own struggles with postpartum changes. It was another reminder that Annie was not alone. Most importantly, she decided to reach out to Jasmine. Jasmine, who had been so open about her own postpartum journey and her experience with alopecia, was a beacon of hope. They messaged back and forth, sharing their stories and offering words of encouragement. Jasmine's frankness about the emotional toll of hair loss made Annie feel less isolated, less ashamed. She realized that her feelings were a normal part of this complex journey. One afternoon, as she was getting ready, she paused in front of the mirror. She didn't see the old Annie, the one with the thick, lustrous hair, but she also didn't see the stranger from a few weeks ago. She saw a woman with a new kind of strength, a resilience forged in the fire of vulnerability. She saw a mother, a wife, and a woman who was learning to love herself in a new, unvarnished way. She took a deep breath and smiled, a genuine, Annie Brand smile that reached her eyes. It was a small victory, but it was a start. She still had a long way to go, and the road was sure to have more bumps. But she wasn't on it alone. She had David, her online community, and now a newfound friend in Jasmine. And most importantly, she had herself, the strong, resilient, and beautiful woman who was learning that true beauty wasn't about what was on the outside, but the unwavering light that shone from within. Annie picked up a bottle of volumizing spray, a product she would have dismissed months ago. The mirror showed her not a stranger, but a work in progress. With a determined sigh, she spritzed her hair and began styling it in a new, softer way that added a bit of lift and movement. It wasn't the thick mane she once had, but it was hers, and it looked nice. David walked in, his eyes lighting up. "Wow, my love," he said, pressing a kiss to her cheek. "I love your hair like that. It's beautiful." His sincerity was a powerful balm. She looked at her reflection again. She wasn't fighting the changes anymore. She was adapting to them. The woman who had felt so lost and overwhelmed had found a path forward, not by reversing what had happened, but by accepting it and finding new ways to feel confident. The postpartum journey was still a part of her, but it no longer defined her. With a genuine smile, she met David's gaze, ready to embrace this new chapter with a heart full of hope and a spirit that was stronger than ever.